YouTube. I hope you are having a blessed day today. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different type of project. We are going to be making quilt labels for our quilts. This is what they look like in the raw. These were some others that I tried that I felt were not all that successful. They're a little blurry, but we'll get into that. The method that I'm using is sublimation printing, and that is a huge topic, and I am an object beginner. So don't take anything that I say as law, and don't try to do this on a precious project unless you test first, because I said I'm not an expert. This is more of my husband's thing, and I don't want to lead you down the wrong path. This is just how I'm doing it, okay? Sublimation is a specially engineered type of ink that will adhere to the molecular structure of polyester fabrics. Once it hits polyester fabrics, it is permanent. It will not fade, it will not wash out, it will not blur. It's not coming out no matter what you do with it. Okay, so once it's there, it's there. Unfortunately, it has to be polyester or extreme high percentage of polyester, somewheres in the neighborhood of 65% or more polyester. It does not work on natural fibers. There is a method, however, that they've just recently come up with where you can print out your sublimation ink on a piece of paper, sit it in this powder, then the powder will adhere statically to the ink. Once you do that, then you can take it and you can print it on cotton fabrics, and it will end up being very much like a standard t-shirt transfer. So it's going to kind of feel a little plasticky. Just feels like the fabric. There is no tactile indication that this is on the fabric. Unfortunately, like I said, it's polyester, and I know the quilt police will have a field day because I'm using polyester, but I'm using it for a quilt label. And my thought is that these quilt labels are small. They will go into the back. No one's really going to pay any attention to them. Think carefully about what you want to put on your labels, and the more elaborate, more difficult it's going to be to have all of the details precise and sharp. The best way to do this is to use a t-shirt press, which is anywhere from like $300 to $600 investment. I'm using a Cricut heat press, and it's about 10 inch by 14 inch is the max it'll do. It'll do 8.5 by 11 paper, which is all I'm concerned with right now. And I've been cranking out several quilts lately, and I've been listing them up on my website for sale, so I need to have labels on them. That's why I decided that I would do this for you. And I'm doing this as cheaply as possible as far as software. I'm using Google Docs, and I am using Adobe Acrobat, but you can use a off-brand Acrobat product that will open it up. And basically all you really need is you need to be able to save your Google Docs file to some type of format that allows you to make changes to the print file. And by doing that, what I'm saying is your transfer has to be reversed. It has to be mirrored in order for it to show up on the fabric correctly. Don't ask me how I know this. You need something that will allow you to go into the printer settings and hit mirror or inverse or turn backwards, something that will flip it so that it's backwards to the naked eye. This way, when it prints onto the fabric, it's the right way up, okay? Okay, so we are in my Google Drive, and if you have a Gmail account, I believe that you can use Google Drive. It's a great tool. It comes with it. It's free. It's a lovely thing. So we're going to go into New, and we're going to pick a Google Doc. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to fix the margins on this paper. You can see that it's 1 inch this way, and it's a little over 1 inch going down. So we're going to go into File, Page Setup, and we are going to change all of the margins to 0.25. That's 1/4 of an inch. So now you can see that the cursor has moved. We're going to be inserting a table to contain our goodies. And we're going to go 4 across, and we need 4 down. The next thing that we're going to do, modify the table options. We want the row to be 2 inches tall every one of them, clicking on minimum row height. Okay, there we go. This is basically splitting up one label into 2 cells, and I'm going vertically. So in this first one, I want to put my logo. I'm going to upload an image from my computer. Okay, and that is a bit large. All right, so I've gone into image options and 1.75 inches. And I'm also going to hit return to give me a little bit more headspace, because this has to meet in the center where the fold will be. I need to make this a little bit narrower, and we would like to have this centered. So I'm happy with the way that looks, but before I do anything, I want to rotate it, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, and that will work out in the layout I showed you. This edge here at the top of 70, that will be the top edge of the label, and this will be the bottom edge of the label, and this will be the fold in the middle, and then this will be the information that goes on the back. So at this point, I'm happy with the orientation, I'm happy with the size, and I'm going to copy everything that's in here. Control copy or Control C, paste, 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 and now I'm going to skip the next row and go down to the 3rd row. So now the task is to do the text that you want to appear on here. And for this, we're going to use another tool. We're going to go up to Insert, and we're going to say Insert Drawing, New. And this will open up Google's drawing program. And we're doing this for the text because you can't manipulate the orientation of the text inside Google Docs. So the only way to actually do it is by going into the drawing program and creating a text box here. And we're going to set this up. We want it centered. Now we're going to type in here, and I'm going to type my name, and then I'm going to shrink this down, and I'm not all that crazy about this font, so we're going to pick a new font. I like this Walter Turncoat. Now let me tell you about these fonts. These are Google fonts, and they are free to use, and you can actually use them on your computer in your system's font library. They're wonderful. There's all sorts of them. I really enjoy these. So I'm picking this one. It's called Walter Turncoat, and it's just a nice blocky all cap. That is the first one that I'm doing, and now I can copy this, and I can move this down and center it. And now I'm going to put my website name, 70 Acres Studio. So that takes care of that. And now I'm going to copy paste again. I'm going to center it. And now I'm going to put my city and my state. Right now I'm just playing with the spacing to make sure that everything's right. And you can move things up a wee bit, you can move things down a wee bit, but this is all centered. And if you want to try this, you can also try maybe making the font bold. And if you want something to stand out more than something else, you can actually increase the font size a wee bit. As I'm coming up to the top of the marquee here, and I'm grabbing this top, and you can see that my cursor changes into a cross. And at that point, I'm going to start rotating. And you can see the little numbers changing, and I want to rotate it 90 degrees. There. Okay, and now I'm going to move it over here. It doesn't matter where you put it on the screen here, this is fine. And now I'm going to say save and close. Okay, and at this point I'm going to highlight this cell. I'm going to change the alignment. We're going to do center, middle, center. There we go. And I'm happy with that, and I'm scrolling down and I'm making sure that I still have space down here. And I'm happy with the way that looks right now. So I'm going to select everything that's in this cell, which will also include the alignment, and I'm hitting copy, going into the next one, paste, paste, paste. That was pretty simple. It didn't take too long. It's not overly fancy, but it puts the information that you want on the label, and that's what's important. We have to change the settings on this table. Table options. I'm going to go all the way down to where it says color, and the table border is being set to 0. Okay, so now the lines are all gone because you don't want those printing. And now we're going to say print, and we're printing to a printer called Adobe PDF, and you can see the printout there. We'll say print, well, labels 2. So that's done, and Adobe Acrobat opened up for me. Okay, I'm taking a look at this. I can zoom out a bit. There we can see the whole document. It's looking really good. And the only thing that we need to do at this point is to say print. So we're in our print settings, and the printer that I am selecting is my Epson, and it's an ET-2850. It's a printer that can accept and use sublimation inks. So this looks fine. Now we're going to click on properties, and we're going to make sure that the quality is set to high, and it's black and white, so we can pick black and grayscale. We're going to go up here to more options, and then we're going to come down here to the bottom where it says mirror image, and we're going to make sure that we check that off. And it doesn't show up mirrored here, it only shows up when it prints. So I'm going to hit print. This is our printout. It is in reverse, which is fine. That's just what we wanted. You have to use heat transfer tape and tape this transfer onto the fabric. And now comes the dreaded polyester. I have just ironed this piece of polyester, and now I am placing our transfer face side down onto the fabric, and you have to use something called heat transfer tape. It does not burn, and I am taping it down. Because if this moves while you're doing this, it will get blurry. We have our back piece of paper and our forward piece of paper, so that is our sandwich. I have an old cutting mat to protect the wood. I have a large rectangular perfect press insulated mat folded 4 times, and it is just sitting here. And then on top of that, I have one Teflon sheet here, and I am taking our sandwich and I am putting it right here. And then we have a top Teflon, and this red thing is my Cricut heat press. So I have it plugged in, I'm turning it on. I want to go to 400 degrees for 40 seconds. It's going to go up to 400, and then it will ding to let us know it's reached temperature. When you put this thing down, you have to hit the little Cricut button, and that will start the timer. But once you put it down, you want to push on it pretty firmly, and you do not want to move it, because if you move it, your transfer will be blurry. Okay, so now you're going to pick it up carefully. You're going to center it over the piece of paper. Hit the button, and I've got quite a bit of weight on the handle right now. Got just over 20 seconds to go. This does draw power. You can see the light flicking. 3, 2, 1, 0. Now we're lifting off, we're putting it back in its cradle, and we're turning it off. And we are going to wait a few minutes to uncover this, let everything cool off a little bit so we don't get burned. So we peel back the Teflon, and if you can see this, yes, you can see it, how it printed through this piece of paper, sacrificial piece of paper, onto the Teflon. So if you want to keep your Teflon clean, you'll use 2 or more pieces of paper to cover it. And that is the sacrificial piece of paper that you can see. That's the bottom piece, and this is our transfer. And I can already tell you that this one looks a little blurry, but it doesn't look that bad. It's readable, and that's all that really counts. And you can, of course, like I said, you can use color, you can put pretty flowers on it, you can do a personalized sentiment, you can do anything you want with it. But I'm going for very simple with very clear information, enough information for them to know who made the quilt and how to reach out to them. For me, that's all I need. So this one turned out really nice and clear. Okay, so here is our label. It is ironed down. I hit it with a little bit of spray starch, Mary Ellen's Best Press, so it has a bit more body to it now. And now this will get caught in your binding in between your quilt back and then your label and then your binding fabric on top. So that is how you make a very simple quilt label for your quilts. It does have some investment. You need a print printer that can use sublimation inks. You need to buy the sublimation inks, and once you have that, then you need some kind of heat press. A handheld iron may work for one label, but not an entire sheet, or not something that's larger. You could add color to your label. Just remember that the more elaborate your label, the easier it's going to be to have it blur if you accidentally move the iron or the press. So there you have it, YouTube. Here is a cute little quilt label that we just made on our sublimation printer. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank you all so much for subscribing. You did subscribe, right? Please. Doesn't cost anything, but it certainly does tell YouTube that you like the content that I put out. Please do give the video a thumbs up. Please leave a comment down below so I know you were here. Please do share my videos on your social media. And on that note, we are done for the day. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy.